Good morning, everyone. All right, so we have learned about how to find the area of squares, rectangles, parallelograms, and triangles. Today, we're going to work on trapezoids. So the shape that you see in front of you is a trapezoid. Trapezoid only has one set of parallel sides. So if you look at this trapezoid up here, the two sides that I just highlighted in yellow are parallel to each other. It also has one 90-degree angle, and that's down here in the pink corner. All right, so we're going to go to method number 1 that we worked on last week, where we count the squares to find the area of a polygon. So we've got 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4 hole, 5 hole squares, and then we have 5.5 and 6. So we've got 5 whole squares plus 2 halves makes a whole. So this trapezoid is equal to 6 units squared. All right, method 2, which is what we're going to be doing in math class, is the formula that we're going to use. So this is kind of a long one, but you'll get it. So area is equal to 1/2 times the height times the sum of base 1 plus base 2. Okay, so let's go back up here and talk about what the height and the bases would be. All right, so when you're looking at a trapezoid, the two bases are going to be those two sides that are parallel to each other. So this is base 1 on the top, and this is base 2 on the bottom. The bases of a trapezoid are the two sides that are parallel to each other. The height of the trapezoid is that perpendicular line that runs between the two bases. You will never, ever, ever use the slanty side. Okay, so let's look and see what we have. So what we need to do now is measure. So if I look at base 1 on the top, I see that that's 2 units long, and base 2 on the bottom, if I start here and I count, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 units on the bottom. And then I count the height. If I start up here at base 1 and go down to base 2, I've got 1, 2 units for the height. So now we're going to substitute those units for our formula. So I'm going to come back down here to the bottom. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to switch to red. So area is equal to 1/2. So now we're going to go back up here and look at the height. Remember, the height was 2. So I'm going to substitute the number 2 for the height. My base 1 is also equal to 2, and base 2 is equal to 4. Okay, now you guys know how to do all of this math. I know you do. You've shown me many, many times. So the first thing I'm looking at is, what is half of 2? Well, we all know half of 2 is 1. And the next thing I'm looking at, what is 2 plus 4? 6. You guys know when there is a number like 1 sitting right beside parentheses, that always means to multiply. So area is equal to 1 times 6. So area is equal to 6 units squared. Okay, let's try the next one. So then here are just some notes for you. Again, the bases are the parallel sides. The height is vertical, and it's the distance between the bases. All right, let's look at the second one. So first, let's count the squares. So we're going to count the whole squares first. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we have to count the half squares. So that was 12. So a half would be 12.5, plus another half is 13, 13.5, going up to the right, 14, 14.5, and 15. Alrighty, so we had 12 whole squares plus 6 halves. 6 halves makes 3 whole. So that equals 15 units squared. So I'm going to erase all of that. I'm going to write my formula down here in my box. So the formula, what we're doing really is we're dividing the height by 2. We're adding the bases together, and then we're multiplying half of the height times the sum of the bases. So we need to go back up here and get our numbers. All right, so if I look at base 1, so again, this one up here is base 1. So that I can see is 2 units. Remember, base 2 is parallel to base 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 units for base 2, and the height is perpendicular to the bases. It runs between the bases. So the height is 1, 2, 3 units. So I'm going to put a 3 right there beside the height. Okay, so now we're going to substitute. So all I have to do is go down here to my formula. We know h means height, and if I look at the height, that's a 3, so I'm going to put 3 inside parentheses. And then base 1 we measured as 2, and base 2 is 8. All righty. So this one I'm going to do just a little bit differently because 3 is an odd number. Odd numbers are a little bit harder to divide by 2. Remember, we learned last chapter the commutative property of multiplication. Says the order in which you multiply numbers doesn't matter. Your answer will always be the same. So I'm actually going to leave my 1/2 times 3 for now. And I'm going to come over here and solve 2 plus 8. Well, I know 2 plus 8 is 10. I still don't want to find half of 3 because that's kind of hard. But I can go ahead and multiply 3 times 10. I know 3 times 10 is 30. Oh, and I know half of 30 is 15. Okay, so 15 units squared. So notice on the top, when we measured, we got 15 units squared. And when we used our formula, we also got 15 units squared. All righty, have a good day, everybody.